What do you think about youth sports?
What do you think of child stars?
Is it smart to be investing as much money into youth sports? Welcome to the Just Two Dads podcast. My name's Kyle Brake.
And I'm Brendan Mack.
You have 5 children, right?
Yeah.
How different are they in their involvement, whether it be sports, whether it be activities, extra school activities, curriculars, you name it?
It varies a lot. And they're all over the board with what they want to do as well. So one likes dance, one did dance and didn't like it. One, and she's now into boxing, while my other son didn't like boxing. So we try to involve them all into sports as much as they like to be. Okay, back to what we were saying. Anyways.
So 5 children varies a lot.
Yeah.
Is kind of what I was getting at there. And so one thing that's been interesting for my experience is I used to work in hospitality, and I used to see a lot of youth sports travelers. And families are starting to kind of go to maybe more of a 1 or 2 child family, household.
For the most part, yeah.
And, whether good or bad, it's interesting because you have 5 and it varies so much. You can't necessarily invest or focus as much. Obviously, you give them all as much attention and time as you have, right?
Yeah.
But there's 5 of them, right? So, I mean, in terms of what you can do, you guys probably have to split. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, in terms of like, if 2 of them are doing something at the same time, does one go to one and one go to the other or something like that?
We try to schedule it as much as possible we try to make out the extracurriculars work as much as possible with each other. So it just kind of depends, because even sometimes there's kids that aren't in extracurriculars at the moment. So, and we also have a special needs daughter that can't go to these events. Like if there is a practice or something, she can't necessarily go to it. So we have to take her into account as well. But usually a lot of the time it's actually my wife taking them. And like I said before, the schedule works out. So and it's pretty much doing something every single day. Wednesday is like dance day. And then a couple days a week are boxing and stuff like that. Cool. So it just kind of works out that way, but we try to schedule it that way as well.
And kind of my thought is that it's those families that do travel and they only have 1 or 2 with the amount of money and able to invest in just that, it's kind of interesting to see the different dynamic of attention kind of, that is displayed. And there seem to be a little bit more of an entitlement, because
100%, yeah.
You can't necessarily blame the child. This is just what they're experiencing, right? And so they're kind of being conditioned to a degree for that. And it was always so crazy because they just had the nicest uniforms in terms of the baseball teams or the soccer teams or whatever. And it was just kind of it was like a professional production for youth sports.
Yeah.
And that was just mind blowing to me.
Yeah. No, it is crazy. And the amount of money that is spent towards youth sports is wild. And the effort that goes into it, it just feels slightly overkill for what youth sports are. I understand that now you're giving these kids better opportunities for practicing and games and stuff like that, because they're getting to go across the country maybe.
Yeah.
So my nephews do travel baseball.
Oh, okay.
They were in Las Vegas last year playing baseball.
Jeez.
Yeah. That's insane. You're traveling all the way across the country, and yeah, that's an incredible experience, but the amount of money and effort and the logistics that just has to go behind that.
And, you start to think about it too. Yeah, it does provide opportunity. I mean, the experience is one thing that I could imagine that is inexcusably untradeable, right? That is just, that is what it is. But the pressure that kind of gets put on, I feel like there's probably not a whole lot of children that either decide to stick with it because they experience so much pressure like that at a young age.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we're talking 10-year-olds, 12.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So you're putting this standard into these kids' head that they have to live up to from such a young age that if something were to happen when they do get a little bit older, they're stuck thinking that they need to meet this expectation and they might never meet it. So they kind of go down some kind of rabbit hole of some sort and slightly dangerous path potentially.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be different. I mean, I played sports, but I mean, I played like the Lefty Grove, the VFW kind of sports.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it kind of seemed more like play.
It was. Yeah, no, 100%. You're having a good time. I mean, from a very young age, that's building the good structure of what the game is.
Yeah.
So it's not even a bad thing. And I raced dirt bikes when I was younger. So like that almost is close to what travel sports are.
Sure.
To a degree, because I mean, I was traveling all over the state. I even went out of the state a couple of times to go ride. So like so I can relate with the pressure. I can understand how it can lead you into certain ways. And if things don't work out and go in your hand, then it can be difficult, especially, I don't know, just.
Yeah, I bet it sticks with you and it kind of lingers something that might not be necessary. And, you know, we kind of talked about it before in other podcasts, and that always trying to find out who you are. And if you don't get to resolve that, or if, weird way, scratch that itch, or however you want to package the whole completion or overpressure of sports, it can affect who you try to find yourself to be later on.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you know, and I was kind of looking into some stuff too, because I knew we were going to talk about this, but it's interesting. There seems to be a drop in participation in like school organized sports, and an increased exponentially participation in these like travel extra leagues or third party leagues, however you want to word it, or whatever.
I haven't looked into that, but I could absolutely see that being a thing, because, well, probably a lot from the parents' hands. They might have this thought that they're not going to have as good of an experience in school with their school team as they could have if they go.
I never thought about that, actually.
Yeah.
That perspective. Yeah. As in, like, they just prioritize that avenue as in it's just a more valuable opportunity, and the other one might hinder.
Yeah. And it's essentially they're trying to build these kids to have skills that they don't necessarily need to take with them in life. While it is great team building exercises and stuff like that, but maybe they're pushing their kids too hard.
Yeah, that is you're kind of separating the school and sports now, you know, and that's taken.
And I think that was such a cool part of school sports. And I personally was never into school sports, but I think it was cool that throughout the whole day, you were going to school with your teammates as well. So like just a normal high school, you're sitting next to the quarterback, you're sitting next to the running back or whatever. Sure. Like you're all right there. You can all converse all day. And that's kind of like also part of the team aspect of a sport. Meanwhile, these other teams, you're going to see them once or twice a week for practice, potentially. Yeah,
there definitely is a lot more camaraderie.
Yeah.
And you know, I did play sports too. I played football. And what was interesting is we were a small school, and, you know, pretty much, relatively speaking, everybody in the class that was a boy kind of played, you know? So, you know, you were with everybody all the time. And, you know, we kind of gelled a little bit better in situations that would pop up. You know, there's maybe a little bit more inherent trust in the idea that you're always around each other. So you kind of just had that. And we did fairly well we punched over our weight. I'll put it that way. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Which was always kind of fun too, because, you know, you always were the underestimated one, the one that, you know, we started to develop a reputation. So I shouldn't say that per se, but, you know, definitely outsized.
Yeah, 100%. And there's almost like not the word patriotism, but like a proudness of your school. Like, yeah, we did this as this team, as this school, we did this. So you feel proud for your city, you feel proud for the school system, but as a travel team, you're just kind of a travel team that might disband next year.
Right. Yeah. Because people kind of move on with different things in life or whatever, things happen, and a lot more variables there. That is interesting. I didn't think quite about that either in terms of, I mean, of course I did about the school pride, because that was, I was going to say too, one of the things that I kind of regret or kind of wish I would have chose differently is when I went to college, I went to a college that didn't have a football team.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't think it would bother me. And I was like, well, it kind of sucks. Like there's nothing to kind of like, go to or kind of rally for or whatever. You just kind of have like watch party. Do you know what I mean? Just it wasn't that chance to even outreach or social interact with, So
yeah, you almost can't get together with a group of people when you don't necessarily have that. Or if you're on...
It's an easy excuse, I suppose.
Yeah, it is. Like my nephew's playing, I think travel baseball is one of the way easier ones to get into. I don't know if there's necessarily like...
Basketball's pretty big too. I do know that.
I could see basketball as well. I wouldn't see like football necessarily.
No, they do, but it is a bit more tough. I think it's more summer or like kind of summer late leagues that they kind of do. But I'm sure they do fall ones too, where you could, if you choose to do that versus I don't know, actually. It's changed a lot. But I know in terms of my understanding, I know volleyball was big.
I could see that too.
Basketball was really big. Baseball, of course, and then soccer too. Interesting enough, there was a lot of soccer because I think you could, relatively speaking, play it indoors. They've got pretty big facilities that you can do that. It's not even really indoor soccer. It's still like a full field. You know what I mean? It's not like you're getting caught in corners.
Yeah, no, I've seen some big indoor soccer fields. They're pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's kind of impressive for sure.
Basically in a massive tent.
But how about this though? Right, that's cool to me. You have these really awesome facilities that the public or people can go to. I don't, disagree with that at all. I think that's amazing for that opportunity. But I guess the pressure that gets put on in terms of like these tournaments and stuff like that, it's so bewildering to me, that age level that we start, well, I say we, but society's starting to now put on these children. I mean,
it's almost from birth.
Yeah. What do you mean by that though, actually? Because I'm curious.
So like, you with your son, you've already gotten him into like minor sports. Obviously, he's small, but like he's kicking a ball and he's like playing soccer. Like you talked about skating with him as well, and like little things like that. And you're not forcing him to like compete at some level or whatever.
Well, I did actually enlist him in a turn. No, I'm kidding.
No, you haven't been doing that, but you're planting the seed for sure into sports and stuff like that. So it's almost from like birth that, and obviously you're not a bad case. It's good to have your kid into these things, but there's parents that will almost like push their kids to like being incredible hitters or pitchers or whatever it may be from extremely young ages. And you see videos of it, like of these 5 or 6 year olds who are like, they have a whole entire baseball set up in their whole backyard. Like they have the batting range in their backyard. They have the nets to catch the ball or whatever. Like they have a pitching area. They'll have all of these crazy things at such a young age. So like maybe not necessarily birth, but they definitely plant the seed there. And I think it's good to plant seeds. That's a good thing. But to take them to the point where you're giving them almost a professional level practice area. Yeah. And like you're sitting outside in your backyard practicing for hours. And it's not just like a fun thing that the kid's going out to do.
Right.
That's where the pressure starts. And it's just crazy that it's planted at such a young age. And I can even see it from like my perspective in BMX. Mm-hmm. We talked briefly before how I have tried to get my kids into BMX and stuff like that. And they kind of are into it, but I see these 6 or 7 year olds who are like out here doing backflips already and like jumping all the big jumps and everything. It's like, that's awesome. But how much of it is these kids being pushed? Now, kids are natural daredevils for the most part, but like, but the parents absolutely have to push these kids from such a young age, and the pressure starts so young. Well,
in a weird analogy here, I kind of, with my child, it's almost like he's the pressure cooker, right? He's just exploding. He just needs to unleash energy in any sort of way. And so like having to direct it in any sort of manner, whether it be like him hitting the golf club with the ball or whether it be him, kicking the soccer ball or running. Like, I mean, he went to this basically giant indoor playground that was like all foam pits and stuff like that, whatever, like they started. and he was like in his natural habitat.
Yeah.
And again, he's 16 months old, and he's like, he's just running everywhere. He's climbing up on top of everything. He's going on dude, you can relate to this. The moment he stepped foot on the trampoline, his eyes just lit up. Like he was like, what is this? You guys have been keeping me cooped up inside. Well, it's winter, right?
Yeah,
but this place exists, or you know what I mean?
Why don't we have this at home?
Right. And then it got me started thinking too. Well, my wife brought it up, but it started me thinking too in certain things that we could do, but it's trying to direct that right now. Obviously he's really, really young.
Yeah.
But I do see what you mean in terms of like, the professional production of it all and that kind of that pressure that comes with it. So kind of thought process that I had is, because it's an interesting line to balance, but if I'm going to do something like that, I want to kind of lead the way in the idea of it being like, for instance, like if it's a golf thing, right?
Yeah.
Kind of want to build it for me and my wife, but with him in mind.
Right.
Versus building him the perfect, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then it's like, it's a family thing. It's not, it's like, we're doing it too. And please come along and do it with us if you want.
I feel like, and that's a lot different than
here's an elite batting cage. And,
here's us building you essentially. It loses the family aspect almost. And I want to say it's good to plant these seeds. It's healthy to have these healthy habits of releasing energy.
Sure.
Otherwise he might be destructive or whatever. He might just, he probably is. He'll still be destructive, but not as bad as if he didn't have these healthy outlets though. So,
and you can tell too, you can really tell. Again, it's tough. It's cold. You can't really do much outside. Right. And when he is able to, you realize he just needs to exhaust himself.
Yeah.
The last 2 days that again, yesterday he went to that play area, but the day before that, it was quite nice outside. So he was outside running, right, so on and so forth. He was whooped, he was able to, he can put himself to sleep, but we noticed like on tough days where it's really cold and we can't do anything, and we're just kind of like doing the best, or I should say my wife is doing the best to kind of keep him mentally stimulated and, physically engaged and, playing with him and so on and so forth. He just isn't enough, and, she's only one person. When I come home, I try to do my best too, but we talked about before, your limited time that you get to have,
not to mention you're tired too.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm getting better at that in terms of, not that I was bad per se, but it is the easiest to kind of turn it all off. So I had to get a new doormat that said like a good vibes only.
Yeah.
So I make sure I look at it when I go in. It's like, all right, turn it all off.
Yeah.
But one thing I did want to say too, kind of touches on we're at the play area, but you get to see so many other children, and we all, I think we both know how important a father's role is in a child's development. And different aspects, obviously it's very important for a daughter, very important for a son, but when it comes to a son, the confidence. And for him to see the level of confidence that he had in comparison to some of the other children was just kind of interesting for me, because I started thinking like, well, where does that come from? And I'm thinking like, well, times I do play with him, I'm tossing him around, I'm, chasing him and picking him up and like swinging him around, you know what I mean? And then I started thinking like, well, this isn't new to him. Like when he jumps on that trampoline and tries to like do a backflip, but ends up just kind of like twisting around. It's like, that's not the first time his body's done that motion. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking like, like it just kind of started clicking a lot more in terms of like, that's what kind of starts the snowball effect of developing the confidence as an individual, especially as a boy, to be able to go do things without, he did keep, my wife was saying, he kept looking back, right? Obviously they want to keep seeing if you're watching. Right.
But then they want to make you proud.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Well, and but it was interesting too, because you could tell he got comfortable. Not only was my wife watching, but like he then knew like, oh, she is watching. So then I could just go do whatever, you know what I mean? She's right there. But I don't know, man. It was really, really, really cool to see and kind of have those gears start falling in place.
Well, to kind of touch on what you said about like the child looking back and making sure you're kind of paying attention or whatever. One, it's so they know that they're safe.
Sure.
And like we said, they're trying to make us proud. They want to be like, oh, I'm proud of that. But when you look around and you're at these places, how often will the parent not be around?
There's a lot of children, and
It's scary. There's a lot of kids, and like, so we go up to a trampoline park every once in a while. That's
nice.
not too far away. It's about an hour, whatever. You go in there and there'll be parents just like sitting in chairs all over, and there's no eye shot of their kids or anything. There'll be like 7, 8-year-old kids running around with nobody paying any attention to them. It's like,
that's crazy.
that's scary that they're out there alone like that. But like, how can you not want to watch your kids? How can you not want to participate with your kids? I'm on the trampoline jumping too.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm the one doing the flips with them, and I'm like trying to get them to do flips. Like,
I had to work yesterday, so I didn't get to go. But my wife was like, "We should go tomorrow." So he's taking a nap right now, and we're going.
Yeah.
We're going.
Yeah.
Because I want to too. I want to go down the slot. You know what I mean?
right. I want to jump just as much as the kids do.
Yeah, and I think that participation and that involvement helps kind of develop that because they don't feel alone. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's
and
like
that comes back to what you were saying is like the family aspect. You're building it as a family thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you plant the seed of golf in his mind, you said you want to do it with your wife and yourself in mind, but also with like keeping him in mind.
Sure.
So he's able to participate. So like you said, it's building the whole family thing. So when you're going to these trampoline parks or whatever it may be, play parks, play areas, and you're participating with him, that's the family aspect. You're participating with these kids. And I think that's a huge thing that gets lost in I can say travel sports almost. Like,
good point. I was going to bring it back to that too, because it's just center focused on the child.
Yeah. And it's so heavy on them. And I feel like the parent participation absolutely does get lost to a degree. I don't truly know how it is with it, but like,
well, it's interesting too, because then you get some of those dads that become coaches.
Oh yeah, those are just as bad. So
there's a small percentage of them that are really good. I'll say that. There's some of them out there for sure, but some of them they're just they're trying to live and
they're just screaming through the sidelines and embarrassing their children.
holding the standard. And expectations are good, but they need to be appropriately introduced at an appropriate time and at an appropriate age. And that's what I mean. And I don't mean like expectations in terms of like chores or tasks. I mean like scoring X points.
Yeah.
Hitting X home runs.
Their performance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like those kind of things. It's like you should still be playing for fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you go out and you don't necessarily score, or maybe you have a bad day, you don't even hit a ball or anything. That's like, yes, that is the fun part, but like, you have to still have fun with it.
Yeah, it is. You definitely have to have that, because otherwise you lose it. And but what's interesting too, I was thinking about that when we were talking about the pressure and how many of them tune out because it stops being fun. There might be an interesting weird gap now between like professional sports in the next few years in terms of the pool of people that are qualified, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Which good or bad, I don't know, just observation.
Yeah. I bet there will be a huge blow up in pro-am sports.
Interesting.
I think that's the step that it'll go to a lot, because even these kids in travel sports aren't necessarily going to make it to the pro ranks. A lot of them probably won't.
Sure.
But they have had a lot more training per se or whatever. So like they might be able to go play pro amateur. Which we have a handful of leagues around here, so I don't know, that maybe that will be kind of where it goes to, but I don't know.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, there's actually just a local soccer or football club or whatever that just started up around us.
Yeah, but pro amateur is almost one of those things where it's just like you're still kind of like having fun with it. I don't know if there's necessarily money like that in it, or if like you still have a day job.
I'll say this: there's a minor league baseball team near us that we go. It's like maybe 20 minutes away, and dude, it's very inexpensive, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's very kid oriented. They have like a whole like blow up like slide and stuff like that, or you know what I mean. But like you could get a drink for, you know, a soda for $2, and
I miss those days.
yeah, dude, you can literally. What did I do? It was me, my wife, and we didn't really get my son a whole heck of a lot. They were still bringing food, but I had $10. I got change back.
Yeah,
and I was like, what?
Get a $1 hot dog and a drink, and be good.
But you know, it was a good experience in that manner. Because it takes pressure away from even going out, right? Because you try to go to a professional sports game anymore, it's like
a $10 hot dog,
and it's a true investment. Yeah, no doubt. And you know, it kind of just, even that in its own weird sense, and you try to make more out of the experience than maybe what it is. It's maybe a little bit less organic, a little bit less natural feeling, because there's more pressure, even just you as a dad, to kind of make sure that, like, you know, your wife's having a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's weird to throw that dynamic off.
Yeah. Child sports have gotten wild. They
have. Yeah, probably not the last time we'll talk about that for sure.
No, I feel like that's something that always has developments with it. Like, I don't know, the inventions that come out with child sports, things that we didn't have access to when we were younger, things of that nature. Kids are lucky these days, but at the same time, it's not necessarily easier.
No, I wouldn't say it's easier. I'd say it's harder.
Yeah.
I'd say it's harder in more manners. It's, relatively speaking, it's easier to survive, but it's harder to maintain sanity.
Yeah.
And that's extremely crucial for a child. You know what I mean?
Yep.
In terms of mentality and how they grow up, because that's ultimately the problems that they're going to have to deal with. And I don't mean like those specific problems, but those issues that they're experiencing in their brain is what they're going to have to deal with when they're getting older.
Right.
You know?
Let's switch it now. Let's go to...
I was going to say...
Let's go Child Stars.
One thing I did do growing up is I did an acting class.
Did you?
I did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did an acting class.
I didn't know that.
We did basically like Disney plays, essentially.
Yeah.
And there was, I don't know, maybe 5 of them. I was Sebastian and Little Mermaid. I had a solo and everything. But what was crazy about that is I might have been in 2nd grade, 3rd grade. It was pretty young, but I just got contacts for the first time. You know what? It had to have been a little bit later than that. I'd probably say it's like maybe 5th grade or so.
Yeah.
Because I did just get contacts, and first day literally wearing contacts in my life, and I am doing the solo for the Sebastian Little Mermaid, and there's a rotating fan right in front of me, and my eyes were so dry. All I was doing was blinking the whole time. It was pretty incredible. But
extremely embarrassed.
What I wanted to get there though is, besides for that, I didn't really experience a whole lot of pressure in my situation throughout the plays that I did with them. But there were these 2. They were brother and sister, and it was very interesting. They had like the main part in Aladdin or whatever, and so on and so forth. Yeah. But I do remember vividly there being like an extra rehearsing and this and that, like with them specifically. And it wasn't necessarily so much that they were like struggling, but it was odd to me. And it kind of like seemed like an added pressure to perform. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of, and I'm trying to think back too, if it was like maybe the acting coaches, like children, right? If there's maybe a little special attention there. But I just remember that being very odd. And I didn't experience that. I felt separated in that regard.
Yeah. Because you were just kind of like a back end character. You're just a crab. So you just kind of had like a couple lines or whatever it might have been. And meanwhile, they're the main character of the story. Yeah. So yeah, they'd feel the pressure of having to perform it perfectly, or they feel like they ruined the entire play. Meanwhile, you're just like, whatever. It's something.
And thankfully I wasn't very good, because I didn't, get involved into anything further than that, because as we're kind of getting to, like, that's just a fun little small little event, you know what I mean? But when you start to get into like production of TVs and stuff like that, and shows,
crazy. Even commercials, like I have seen things where these kids, it's the parents taking their kids to go try out for commercials, and that's essentially where like a lot of these kids are getting their foot into the door. But there's 1,000 other kids that may have showed up that day, and you got to go through this entire like interview and everything, and you got to do a slight performance or whatever and trying to get the spot, like, and they're picking 1 out of 1,000. That is terrifying.
Yeah. That is such a magnifying glass on just kind of like pressure and heat, you know what I mean? You kind of like, and I mean that kind of almost literally when you're in the spotlight.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know. There's time and place, right? And I guess that the interesting question is how do you introduce it, right? Because that is maybe, I don't know, you know, you got high school theaters and stuff like that. That's obviously appropriate time to start experiencing, you know, that avenue. But at what age? I feel like it was way too young for us to be doing that. This was like the rec thing or something like that. Sure, it was sign up, but
doing it on a small scale like that of something in your hometown or whatever, you're just doing like a little play or whatever. That's cool, and it does kind of like give.
It was more for the parents.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a slight glimpse into it, and it's a fun thing for the parents because my kids do. They do like a school play every year.
Okay,
so it's kind of. I don't know. It's cool to go to as a parent. But it's not this huge production, and there's not a lot of pressure on them. Obviously, they want to perform well and do well with it, but like they don't feel like their world's about to end if they don't do this right or whatever.
They're not literally providing a paycheck for mom and dad based upon their commercial performance.
Yeah. I can go forever about child stars. It's so bad. And then I don't know, the whole thing, the TV shows and music industry and movies, the commercials are kind of like on the back burner or whatever as far as everything, but that's kind of where it all starts, and it starts building this pressure, and these kids might get into the limelight. But why do we have these kids shows with 10 and 12-year-olds and stuff like that?
Well, I will say this, as somebody who has a 16-month-old, and I do remember myself enjoying Barney, one of the interesting things about Barney is that children are involved. And he seems much more attuned to that because it's relatable. But then the question is how do you... I mean, I'm not saying that justifies doing it, right? But it does seem that it is received in children because it is...
Could you imagine putting your son on Barney?
Well, no. So then that's obviously the question too is, I guess what I was saying is I can understand at least from why children would like it.
Yeah. I see the enjoyment factor out of it. I understand why kids are enjoying it.
Employing the children on the show is interesting because one, obviously I don't want the production to make all the money off the children for free.
Yeah.
But should the children be maybe put it in a savings that they can't touch till they're 18? It's all theirs.
I know that some parents do that. They'll have like a trust or whatever that's set up that
that should almost be like agreed within the contract of the thing. Like it should be the child's, right? But they can't be getting paid.
But it's exploitation.
It is.
You're exploiting your kids. And
it is.
I think one of the absolute worst cases of it that I have seen in the past, I don't know, that I've paid attention really, is that Ryan's World kid.
Ah, yeah.
I'm sure you've heard of him.
Yeah. We haven't watched, but yeah.
Yeah. He just opens toys and plays with toys. That's all that he does on YouTube.
Yeah.
But he was the 1 year, he was like the highest grossing kid on YouTube. And he was like 7.
That's crazy.
And he made like a few $1 million or whatever it might have been. Like, but children obviously don't need to be exposed to that level of money. But the parents are the ones that are benefiting out of all of this. And not to mention, on top of that, he's getting all these free toys sent to him and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost building a level of like, everything will be handed to me throughout my entire life. And I feel like that's huge with like child actors and all that in general. Then you see it so often where they end up going down a spiral of drug abuse or alcohol abuse. And actually, so a good example of that is I seen the kid from Ned's Declassified. I don't remember which kid it is exactly.
I think I remember something about it too.
He's homeless though.
Yeah.
And like he wasn't one of the main three people, but he was up there. He was pretty well known, but
I think one of the other cast members like found him or something like that.
Yeah.
And, like got him a hotel room or something. I
Yeah.
think that's what the news that got brought up there.
yeah, it
I
was
do
something like
remember
that. So they were trying to take care of him, but apparently he fell into like drug problems and alcohol problems, and he ended up just becoming homeless. And like, you wonder how much of that is how much money he was exposed to at a young age, and the expectations that he may have had going into his adult life.
Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of like just decomposes trust too, because like, how do you know you're not going to be exploited again?
Exactly.
Huh.
And I mean, that's just one example that I have
Sure,
off the top of my
I
head,
do
but it
remember
happens
that.
so often.
Yeah, it's almost like you're playing a game, and if you get the cheat code, you don't really care about playing the game so much.
Yeah.
It just devalues the experience.
And one of the biggest parts that scares me about kids television is, what are these kids having to do to get into their role? I feel like there has been so many things that have come out in the last handful of years that it's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
As a father. It's the scariest thought you can ever think of. You don't want anything to ever happen to your kids.
Yeah.
But the whole Nickelodeon scandal is absolutely disgusting.
We were actually watching something the other day, and it was weird, the fascination of the foot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was an older one too, and then we didn't really think about it a whole lot. And then it's like, well, yeah, it's pretty predominant in the idea of like, I don't know, they put it right there in front of you too.
Yep. And you don't even, when we were younger, we didn't think anything of it. It was just like kind of a thing. We were young. We didn't like, they're just being silly. But like,
even the parents, I don't think there was a level of awareness as there is now.
no, I mean, they weren't sitting there watching TV with us.
Sure. No, you're right.
We talked about screening, or I talked about screening last week with you, like how I screen what my kids watch, but our parents didn't do any of that. So they didn't know what was coming on the TV. But
I remember watching Chucky at a very young age. Shouldn't have been.
yeah.
Just like, whatever it is, fill in the blank. There was just like things we were exposed to things that so easily.
Yeah, but you wouldn't expect things like that out of like Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network or Disney.
Right.
You wouldn't expect that. Like, obviously us watching like you said, Chucky, I feel like that's a good example because I was watching that at 5 with my sisters for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
But you wonder what's actually happening to these children actors. You wonder what they have to do to get into their roles. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like a good example of a child actor that had a hard time was Amanda Bynes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen like pictures of her or anything lately. Like, there's rumors of crazy things that have happened with her with that dude. I can't even remember his name from Nickelodeon. I don't know if you remember it.
Dan Schneider.
Yeah, Dan Schneider.
Mm-hmm.
And then she essentially fell off the wagon and kind of like went into this crazy spiral of her life, rightfully so, understandably, because
Yeah.
you don't expect these people so close to you to be taking advantage of you. But it happens so much as a child actor, and she permanently deformed herself because of it.
Do you think that's maybe because she's trying to escape who she was, or trying to find out who she is, or what? What's your opinion or thought? Obviously, we don't know, but we're just two dads.
Yeah. My thought with that is she doesn't want anyone to look at her in that light ever again. So she's trying to make herself not pretty to Hollywood standards.
Indistinguishable to what their expectations would
Yeah,
be.
so that way people aren't looking at her in that way, or people don't want to do something like that to her. People don't want to hurt her. So she's
Interesting.
doing it in a way to protect herself.
Yeah, I could see that. And it is wild too, because there's the obvious pressure of what she was expected to do in terms of the shows. She was literally like they were made shows about her.
Yeah.
And
it was
then,
her name.
Yeah. There's that crazy, I don't know if it was behind the scenes or whatever, with Dan Schneider and her in the hot tub.
Yeah.
And they're eating food or whatever like that.
Yeah.
It was very, very distasteful. Just in the fact that, like, how could you even put that? I don't know if it comes from cockiness or arrogance. How could you even be how can you put that out there? How can you do that, let alone, but then also to like dangle it and just be like, hey,
I'm doing this.
It's
Yeah,
grotesque.
that's disgusting.
It's insane. And
He did it with so many people too, though. Like,
there was that one girl too. I know her first name's Jenna. She had another show that was about her basically after the fact too. And again, a lot of episodes where feet are involved.
yeah,
That don't need to be.
yeah,
That are very
that and iCarly was a good one for it too. That was super weird. What is Jamie Lynn Spears?
yeah.
I don't know if you've heard the rumor that Dan Schneider is the one that actually got her pregnant.
No.
So there's a rumor that Dan Schneider is the one that actually got her pregnant during
Zoe 101?
Zoe 101. And that's what caused the show to get canceled. So the rumor is that he's the dad. I don't know if there's like any solid proof of that or anything, but like there's been a lot of talks about that.
They could figure that out.
Yeah.
That's crazy. No, I didn't actually hear that, but that's absolutely insane. I weirdly enough, I like the show Zoe 101. It kind of like because the whole school system like opened up like a whole like freedom aspect of it that I thought.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough. Anyways, that is crazy.
And I feel like even that is just a small drop in the bucket. All the things with Dan Schneider and Nickelodeon, that's just a small drop in the bucket of what it really comes with child actors.
Yeah, it makes you think.
Yeah.
It makes you think. But then, you have to remove it. That's what you were kind of getting at in the idea that like there isn't a good space where you can put children on a TV show. And the idea of like, there's always going to be some sort of ripple effect that can you manage? Some scenarios I couldn't even fathom, right?
No.
But even take some of the lighter aspects of it where it's just like you were talking about the Ryan World, right? Where dude made what, $7 million or something like that?
Yeah, it was something crazy. I don't know the exact number.
That's insanely difficult to deal with, but that's much different than Amanda Bynes' situation.
Yeah.
She obviously was making a bunch of money too, but
it's hard to, or it's not hard. It's differentiating the aspects of the bad. So there's going to be
differentiating exploitation, quite honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's so many different levels of exploitation. How are you getting the show?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing with your money when you get the show? What are we doing with this?
Yeah, it's definitely a selfish perspective in the idea that you got to think it's just these parents or people, adults trying to make money off of children.
And just recording their kids running around doing all these things. Like, I don't know. I don't like exploiting my kids. I don't like my kids being out on the internet in general.
Sure.
I try to keep them. I don't even really post pictures of my kids. I don't like putting my kids out there because of the weirdos out there.
Yeah. And it's really unfortunate of that because communication in itself and the ability to get together has gotten more difficult. And so like, that's ultimately, I would imagine where that bridges from is like, you still want your cousins or whatever to know like, hey, look, this is how your cousin is doing.
Yeah. I mean,
or whatever, right?
That's how I know things about you. Basically, we don't always get together, so
sure.
That's almost kind of how we keep up. But
you're right, though. It's gotten astray.
Not to mention how easy it is to make fake profiles and all of that. So
Dude,
like
we were talking about it before with the AI, right?
Yeah.
I can't tell you. My feed now is just literally all AI. I unfortunately I was doom scrolling for a little bit and I started realizing like, well, that's AI.
Mm-hmm.
That's AI. That's AI. And then I did 2 scrolls where they were all AI and I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I just closed my phone. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
This was these are the toilet scrolls.
Right.
And even then I was like, I'll grab the shampoo and read the back of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know, I guess with AI, it's even scary to think of how kids are also being exploited in that way and who's using it in what way to.
Dude, there's some gross people that are saying that it's in a healthier avenue. I was like, what?
I haven't heard that one. Oh my God.
What are you talking about? That well, if it's not actually a child or if it's a fake, no.
See, that person needs to instantly be put on a list. And
yeah, I was like, stop. I think I told them to stop talking there because I think I was at a relatively professional setting and I didn't want to have to get violent.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was crazy because I didn't think that was relatively, not that children get exploited, but I didn't think there was the sympathizers.
Yeah.
Not that there's a lot of them, but I did experience one, and I was like, what?
Right.
I
Yeah.
had to make sure I understood. But yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. I don't know how you can be sympathizing with people like Dan Schneider, and I don't know, the list goes on.
Yeah.
Pick a name, any name.
Yeah, and you constantly think about that as a dad.
Yeah. So that's why I keep my kids out of acting.
Yeah. Just do home plays.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's always fun, though.
What's one of the worst industries you think for it?
For children? Oh, for exploitation of children.
Yes, that specifically.
I would have to say probably modeling. Like kids' clothes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'd say that's probably like the dark secret that's, I wouldn't say secret, but like the dark closet that isn't necessarily out in the open.
Yeah, that's a good one. Because it's not, like you said, it's dark. It's not, so many people don't know about it even. Like it's kind of hidden. It's a hidden industry. Like, yeah, there's kids modeling clothing, but like, yeah, that's probably weird.
Dude, well, there's bathing suits.
Yeah.
We're just going to leave it there.
Right.
Insane.
Yeah, you don't need to have kids modeling it. You can just
put it on a hanger.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
What's the pattern look like? That's all I need to know.
Right. Yeah.
Sizes are figured out. Just what does the pattern look like?
I didn't even think about that one, to be honest.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and I don't even, something came up in terms of modeling and fashion in general. And I kind of started thinking about that. I was like, wow, there's probably a really, really, really dark alley down there. And so when you asked me that question, I was like, that's probably got to be bad.
Yeah. How could you even as an adult sit there and photograph that?
I don't know. I don't know. That's insane.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the only way that I could even see it is you're just looking for a paycheck.
Right.
Any non-sicko.
Yeah.
Any non-sicko is just doing it for a paycheck. But even still, though, you gotta have it in the back of your mind that there's going to be sickos that look at this.
Right.
What about you?
I was going to say the music industry.
I could see that too, for sure.
But then you said modeling, and I was like, man, yeah, that's not to mention thinking about modeling. Like it goes into all the changing and like,
God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
That's how my mind wasn't even there, but then like, you're right.
I'm sure there's like changing rooms or whatever, but like,
are they locked? Are they alone?
Well, are they locked? Are they alone? Are the parents in there? Are the parents allowed in there at all even?
Are the parents having to stay in
do you have this hair person or whatever it may be, the stylist with you trying to help you get dressed as a child? Like, are their parents letting them around these people while they're doing this?
That's a great question. If anybody's watching this and your child is in modeling, are you the child changing themselves? Are you like in front of the locked door? Like what?
Are you helping them change?
What's going on there? Like we need answers because this is I'm starting to get concerned.
Yeah, no, there's way too many questions. Do you care? I hope you do.
But yeah, and what's crazy too is for sure music, and stuff like that. We're just obviously talking about acting, but like you kind of get put on the spotlight, right? You kind of know about your Justin Bieber, right?
Yeah.
You kind of know about that. But when it comes to modeling, though, you don't know that child's name.
No, because most of the time they're not going on to do anything beyond that. They're just there for the picture and where they go after that. You don't know that kid. While we know, like you said, we know Justin Bieber. We know these big
Amanda Bynes, right? So
we know them. But even then, sure, we know them. But how many kids are flying under the radar still in the music industry, still in the acting industry that never necessarily made it big, but they're in smaller productions, or especially with like music, because music can be one of those things that you can never blow up in, that you can just be a small time singer.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't say small time. I should say like
Local.
yeah, or even just in the state or whatever it may be, like country. Never going up above that. Maybe I feel like likes is such a lame way to describe it, but like maybe like 100,000 likes on Facebook compared to Justin Bieber's 100 million.
Right.
But 100,000 is still like, it's pretty good. You'll still probably tour through the country. What is happening to you though?
Right.
Are you still being exposed to the same things? Most likely, I would imagine. Justin Bieber had P. Diddy.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that these kids, well, one, they can have their parents. They can have them beating them to greatness or whatever they might assume. Like,
you will be successful.
Yeah. You will go out and perform. You will write this song. You will sing this song. Things like that. There's so many things that can easily fly under the radar.
Yeah. And you say fly, and then you started thinking about like, if you literally are the company flying children, are you trafficking children?
Yeah.
I mean, you're crossing state lines, country lines, flying, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And you're taking them to these places to be exposed. Essentially, you're putting your kid up on a stage.
Yeah, I feel like there's a deep rabbit hole there.
That doesn't need to be explored too deep.
Geez.
I think the issue with all of these industries, the biggest thing is that nothing is happening to the people that are doing these things. Did anything even happen to Dan Schneider?
I don't know. I think there's still things ongoing. I think the problem, I feel
but it takes so long and it's drawn out forever.
Well, the problem I think there is that say that it's still going on, right? You can't expose it until you make sure all those children are safe. Because if you expose it and you know what I mean? Then they're kind of like collateral in a very sick way. And you
but at the same time,
you know what I mean? So like if I'm playing devil's advocate,
that sucks because like at the same time, are you putting more kids at risk too? I don't know. And it sucks to say that.
Yeah.
I feel like a good thing with that, or not a good thing, a good example of that is like the whole Epstein thing. Mm-hmm. Are you putting more kids at risk if you don't bring it out? If you don't speak about it? Are you putting more kids at risk if you do talk about it? Like,
well, I would like to think that like in terms of investigations and stuff like that, usually the information we find out is like 6 months behind. You know what I mean? Like they're doing things. We just don't know about it because you can't really release the information that you've done.
Well,
you know
we hope.
Well, and you know, I'll say this. There's a lot of I've been seeing a lot of arrests happening, whether it be like more local stuff and things happening, which kind of starts to think that like things are changing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. When you talk about the scale, though, right? I guess that's the big thing. When you talk about the scale of a operation, for lack of a better word, you got. I would imagine that you'd have to be all your I's would have to be dotted and your T's would have to be crossed. Because the absolute worst case scenario, oh God, it's hard to even say that.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Are you exposing more exploitation, right? So on and so forth. But what happens if you don't have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed and then they get to go?
Right.
Because legally they get to go because they, you know what I mean? That
and then they can move on and they can just keep doing it and
that can't happen.
No.
So I get it there, but it's also extremely frustrating. And it's like, because of the sensitivity of the matter, which interesting enough, not that we're going to get too political on this one, but like it has to be bipartisan. I don't understand how it could be, somebody could be for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's a unifying factor there. You don't mess with children.
No, for sure.
Simply put.
Yeah. You mentioned how it's been more discovered on a local scale.
Yeah.
I've noticed that too. I've seen, like you said, there's been tons of arrests made and stuff like that. I feel like it's scary how much it has blown up over the past, mainly it's a handful of years that these people are being caught.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're not seeing it on the larger scale.
Sure.
When you're just seeing it being these local people, but you know there's worse out there. It's almost like they're catching like the local dealers, but they're not catching like the head honcho, the supplier. They're not getting to the supplier.
Well, dude, I actually just saw, I mean, again, I guess the question is like, is there a head supplier? I know you're talking about like just bigger things, but like the guy who just, who invented the squatty potty,
Yeah.
he just got convicted.
Did he?
Yeah.
He's
No, I should say, sorry, not convicted, but arrested,
Yeah.
detained, whatever.
Yeah.
But having stuff,
Yeah.
I don't even want to say the words. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's crazy. But I mean,
But yeah, it's not like a.
it's happening though. I do think it's happening. There's definitely a
It needs
tide
to.
turning. Oh, of course. Well, I'll say this though: the level of awareness is not going to allow it not to.
Yeah.
You know, like people know about it.
So
now.
I think even though an issue with it is, yeah, we're finding these people perhaps even, but there's not enough punishment.
Well, there'll never be enough punishment for the things that these people are doing.
There can be.
Even that though,
elimination.
Even that though, even expiring them. I mean, I still feel like that's not enough.
No, it's not. It truly
do you
isn't.
know what
But
I mean in
I
terms of
think
that?
that is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's always the saying that, you know, pedophiles can't be cured.
Yeah. Yes, I can.
The world can be cured of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I don't know, but these people are getting 2-3 years in prison.
really?
That's not. Yeah, that's all that it is. That's all that.
My God.
That's all that it is.
I didn't know that.
That's what I'm saying. Like
That's a problem.
So I don't remember exactly what the charge is called, but it's like pandering sexual matter to a minor or something like that. Which is essentially sending naked pictures of yourself to a minor.
Okay.
I know it's
Thanks for naming terms.
crazy term. It's like an F4 or an F3.
Really?
An F3, I believe, is 2 to 5 years in prison, and an F4 is like 2 years to 5 years or something like that.
And it's like
So it's somewhere in there. It's or
Level 2 felony? Is that what you're kind of
level 3 felony. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah,
but
okay.
anyways, it's only like 6 months to 5 years. Essentially, that's not
Dude,
long
that's
enough
insane.
for the things that are happening.
No, it's not. Well,
Even
then-
if I don't want to say just sending a naked picture of yourself to a minor, but like
why are you in that situation?
exactly.
That's the first question.
One, if you're doing that, you're a pedophile. You didn't do that on accident. It's like, oh, I didn't know. There's a 99.99% chance you did.
Yeah. yeah.
There's maybe a 0.01% chance where you didn't know, but like you didn't accidentally do that, especially if
Right.
you do it multiple times. But they're giving these people plea deals so they can plea down even lower. I know of a case where someone got 5 charges. They're still going through it, but they'll probably end up pleading down to like 1 and only have to serve a single sentence of that instead of
my.
all 5 of it, where they should be going away for 25 years. They should have to serve all of that.
Yeah.
The punishment is not at all harsh enough.
So then the question becomes the judicial system.
Yeah.
That's ultimately where the hammer comes down.
It's almost like they just don't want to deal with it, but why? Why wouldn't you want to? Why are you giving these kids, or not these kids, why are you giving these people so much leniency
Yeah.
after what they did to kids? One of the most important things in America, I feel like, should be protecting children.
It's the future.
Yeah.
100%.
They're the future. They're what's going to create what we have in our future, even. So when we are 60 years old, so we can have a good future.
Yeah.
So we have to give them a good present. They have to have good current time so we can have a good future as well. It's not.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not only theirs; it's also our future.
For sure. No, 100%. I mean, you know, it's kind of one of those things where you what you put out is what you get back kind of thing. You know what I mean? You have to kind of put the work forward in terms of that. And then, you know, it's supposed to kick back. You know? Hopefully he's changing my diapers one day.
I just feel like the judicial system is failing our children.
I agree.
there's way too much leniency. Pedophiles do not need to be put back into the public, period.
Mm-mm.
You can't get rid of this person having this thought process. It's not going to happen. If I was going to say, even if especially if they're a repeat offender, but even a one-time offender, it doesn't matter. Like,
yeah. Well, and obviously putting the child aspect of it aside, I mean, we've seen it so often that we're like these offenders, whether they be sexually offenders, just physical offenders, where they like, beat people they get released.
Yeah.
Like right away. And they are, and
what do they do after it? They go out and repeat.
Dude, I literally saw they had like 7 arrests within like almost not even a 2-week span. And it's like, how is that even possible?
Yeah. Keep him.
There's something going on here.
You can't see the pattern. You need to just keep him. Don't let him out for at least 4 to 5 years, depending on the charges.
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, but how is he getting released?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Someone cares enough about him to keep bonding him out over and over.
But the fact that that's still an option after, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to post a bond after all this time. Like, yeah. I don't know. The judicial system infuriates me, and the leniency that they're giving these child predators is absolutely ridiculous, and it makes me so afraid for my kids. And there is easy solutions. Yeah, and I don't think they deserve a second chance.
No,
not child predators.
I agree.
I can give a murderer a second chance before I give a child predator a second chance.
And there's situations where, not that it's ever justified, but I guess it could be understood in terms of like a murderer.
Yeah. Where
taking a child's innocence, I don't understand how anybody can understand that.
No, there's nothing that can justify that. Absolutely nothing. I don't care. Period.
Speaking of murderers that can understand why they did it, Cain Velasquez, he's the MMA fighter. One of his children, I believe his daughter, was molested, and he killed the offender.
So. Rightfully so.
He had to go to jail for, I think, like 2 years, 3 years or something like that.
Worth it.
Sure. Oh, absolutely, of course. But it was like the support that he did have, though, was obviously. And it's like,
that's one of those things, though, that I've thought. I don't want to say I thought deeply about it, but I've always thought about protecting my children, especially if something like that were to happen. Of course, I've thought about that because it's nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
But I've thought about it, and like, it's one of those things that where if something were to happen, what are you supposed to do as a dad?
Right.
You can't realistically go do something to that person.
Right.
As much as you want to, if you get put in prison because you did something to them, it's going to make that situation even worse for your kid because now they're also losing their dad.
Exactly.
While they just lost one of the biggest parts of themselves. It's
exactly
such a hard thing. Like him only getting 2 to 3 years, like that's incredible that he only got 2 to 3 years. And
yeah. I mean,
I rightfully understood. I get it.
It should be less in that manner.
Yeah. Yeah. It should be.
Should be almost self-defense.
Yeah. We can argue that through and through, but it is what it is.
It was definitely worth the price.
I'm sure you've seen the clip too, where there's a dude sitting in a jail or something, or like a courthouse, and the dude just got done with court, and he's sitting there acting like he's on the phone or whatever, turned with his back to everyone, and then the guy walks past and he shoots him as he's walking past. And
I did.
I was gonna say, I'm sure you've seen that. It's that same situation though. That dude did something to his kid, and he took matters into his own hand because
I'll figure it out.
It's the fear of the judicial system not taking care of it.
Sure.
Because if something were to ever happen in a couple years, when that dude gets out and I see him, I can't tell you what I would do.
Right. Yeah, it's nightmare fuel, no doubt. It's scary, dude. It's a scary world.
Yeah, we have to do what we have to do to protect our kids.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it almost seems like the judicial system will come down harder on you for that than...
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was kind of thinking in the back of my mind there. You almost have to be prepared for that.
Yeah. But I feel like that's part of being a father is it's our duty to protect our children.
100%.
We can't wait for someone else to do it for us.
No. And what that protection means is different in every scenario because like you said, you have to make sure you're there for them because in the time of vulnerable that they would be in, most important that you're there.
Yeah.
Regardless of what fuel and rage you want to unleash.
Yeah. So I don't know. The biggest part of protecting your kid is what you can do ahead of everything.
Sure.
You cannot put them in situations that could potentially lead to that.
Yeah.
So parents putting their children into these roles, child stars. I don't want to say traveling teams because the parents are still with them.
Yeah.
Modeling.
Yeah.
Singing, all of these things. You have to like be very reserved in doing this. You can't be putting them in the limelight. And even goes into like child stars on YouTube too, because like you said, we don't know what all they're being exposed to, but I'm sure they're going to places and experiencing things like sponsorship type deals and things of that nature, which who knows what exactly that entails.
Right.
But I don't know. It's we as parents have to remove our children from those situations to keep them safe. And we aren't that desperate for the money that our kid will make us.
And you shouldn't be. Your job is to provide for them.
Yeah, they aren't supposed to provide for us. They're supposed to go to school and learn. So maybe one day when I'm 70 years old and I can barely walk, maybe they can provide for me.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I think that's big. Anything else you kind of wanted to touch on those specific topics there?
No,
we could.
I feel like I already raged. I raged,
but I feel like we could go on and on and on and on about that, though. And we probably will, of course, touch back too. Hopefully, it's because more arrests are happening, and we can talk about those.
Yeah, hopefully the positive side of it, because try not to just sit and dwell on the negatives, but
you can't. It's not a place for you to be able to mentally be good for your family.
Yeah.
And that's also the interesting balance. But yeah, it is crazy stuff, man. It's a strange world we live in.
Yeah, it's a mad world.
Well, thanks for watching the Two Dads podcast. Leave a comment down below if you got questions for any topics you want us to talk about. Anything you got for the viewers?
Like and subscribe.
All right, that's sweet.
Yeah.